think it's you. Cool. So we're recording now. Okay. I will just start with that. We want to keep. So we have that is our third week that we are holding a room after the town hall, and we decided to make it these sessions very focused and straight to the point, straight to the purpose. No intros anymore. So hope you know each other. Because our mission is to bring more women and to also see how we can help the women that are already in Cardano as well, not only bring new women and talking about numbers. I will hand over to Natalie, so she can introduce because we have some questions.
Great. Thank you, Dzhuliana. Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie, and I work with Dzhuliana on One Up, One Down. Yeah, so as Dzhuliana said, we want to try and keep this conversation relatively focused on the topic that we're all here for, which is supporting women within Cardano, bringing more women to Cardano through the topic of mentorship. So we're going to try and we want the conversation to go where it needs to go, but we want to bring it back to that topic so that we don't drift too far off topic. So we have a few questions to guide us. And so the first question we have is, what brings you here to this conversation now? And we sort of see this as a way of, we're not going to do formal introductions. We see this question as a way of helping to learn about each other and understand why we're here right now. So I'll open up the floor to see if anyone wants to jump in to answer that question. What brings you here now?
I can start. Oh, go ahead. Oh, no, I was just going to say, Alexa, to answer your question. Yeah, I think all the breakout rooms are recorded, right?
Okay, cool. Because I definitely wanted help with a fund aid proposal. I was going to say I'll start since no one else was saying anything. Pretty funny, you know, we all just jump in on the same time. But hello, my name is Alexa. My name is Cooktime on Twitter. I am officially the co-founder of Cardano Women on Twitter. Ali Illustrated, also known as Alexandra Prater. She's also the founder of Cardano Women. So basically our mission basically aligns very closely, bringing more equality and opportunity and just awareness to the underrepresented amount of women in Cardano, just making them feel comfortable through Twitter spaces. That's kind of where we started, and you know, it's going to be a long-term project that we're both very dedicated on. I am actively part of the Ada Cafe. I'm part of their governance team. If you guys don't know what the Ada Cafe is on Twitter, basically it's a community hub for all the Twitter spaces. We have a fund proposal for Fund 7 that we put out. So basically, if you're a host, you can get paid essentially weekly for hosting your Twitter space. So that's part of it. Of course, we have a lot of future plans in the future as well. Background for me, I'm a graphic designer. I'm specializing in UI UX right now. I want to focus on user experience for Web3, and especially regarding in the Cardano community. I want to be able to build effective products for users. So that's just basically kind of what I'm focused on. How I discovered Catalyst was through Quasar months ago. He jumped in a Cardano Women space, was speaking about it. And ever since then, I've been actively just getting the word out about proposals on a Twitter space. We would host a few of them regarding Catalyst. We have one on Friday as well, going over the accepted fund proposals. But yeah, so I'm excited to be here, learn more, and see what I can do for the community of women.
Nice. Thank you.
I guess that means I have to follow her since she started before me. Hi, my name on the legal name is Alexandra Prater, but I do plan to change that here shortly. Not because I'm getting married, but I just other reasons. I started off with Ali Illustrated. I tagged it in the chat there, so you guys can check that out. It started as a Twitter space thing to just find the women in the space, because I was really sick and tired of going to Twitter space to Twitter space to Twitter space, and I just saw a whole bunch of men. I didn't see a lot of women. And I had seen something similar on the Ethereum side with, in case no one knows, her name is Lori Grace. She's a really prominent feature on that side as a transgender woman, and has all-inclusive spaces, which was exciting. And then I started having my own space, calling it Cardano Woman, and it's kind of snowballed from there, from a Twitter space that I didn't want it to be hidden in my own project, because I have my own stuff, NFTs and things like that there. So then with Cook Time as my now co-founder, officially announced, she has been helping me with the Twitter. We just launched our Instagram. I have my camera gear and everything in the other room over there, so I can start making some YouTube videos, because I just really want to spread the word about women and involvement into the space. And so if there's any way I can do it, it's by educating what I've already learned and sharing it out into the space, and hopefully that will bring more. I had a big reveal last Friday from our last space, and a lot of women definitely came up from the woodworks and saying, hiding behind my PFP, I'm a female, and I think I'm ready to finally get involved, because I guess it was just a matter of getting the women angry at something. And so they were like, I'm ready. So I was excited for that, and I'm excited to see where it kind of grows from there. We've definitely got a lot of big plans, Discord, other platforms, and hopefully in-person events. I've been working with Claymates recently, getting networked in there for Cena TCon. So hopefully I'll be on their panel board, and I will hopefully also be approved for the general Cena TCon guest speakers as well, just kind of keeping that movement going. And I also heard about Catalyst proposals through Quasar. He had actually commented prior to my Cardano Women Twitter space. He was like, look, there's this proposal thing. And I was like, what is Catalyst? What is all of this? And then that's when I found a number of you ladies here today. So it's exciting.
Thank you.
Someone else? Thank you very much for sharing that. Actually, we were following each other and looking in different communities, and obviously we see that there is a couple of women groups in Cardano, and it's great that you joined here, because we're starting to collaborate with each other. Yeah, is someone else wants to share why?
I can go if you want.
Yeah.
Dzhuliana. So I'm here because I am excited to start seeing, I know we collected a lot of emails last week, but I'm excited to start hearing and putting action to some of the things that we're doing. So I love that Ali and Alexa joined the call today, and I see somebody else with my name down there. I think it's Mermaida, but she is a part of the, oh, where'd she go? Oh, somebody just disappeared. But she has a stake pool operation, and also they do like a white glove minting service. So like I'm here to like hear everybody meet each other, because like you just said, there's a lot of different groups that have been working in silos, and it would be cool. Everyone meets each other. It's like we need to start dividing and conquering, you know what I mean? Like whose strengths are where, and then putting like the energies, because if every group is trying to do it all, you know, our bandwidth is only so much. So it's kind of like, instead of recreating the wheel, how do we, you know, gather and then disperse from there, like with all of our skill set put in the right places. So that's why I'm here, and I'm excited to see like what things start happening outside of town hall breakouts too. So that's my 2 cents, and I'm glad to see a number of the people here that I was stalking in Twitter this morning.
It was the weirdest thing that I was added as your name. Like I've never had that issue before on Zoom. Like I've been in town halls before, but that was really interesting. I just wanted to, since Mermaida said that she was picking up her kids and so she won't be able to speak, but she posted in the chat so I can just read it really quickly for her. She's here, Mermaida is here because she wanted to listen to what women have to say about re-being in the community or rebuilding the community, what issues there are, how to bring more women in the community, what you feel is keeping more women from joining and those who join from participating more. And like you had said before, she is a stake pool operator and offers minting service. And I linked her information down below. I think she might have left, but yeah.
Who's the other person with my name down there? Is that Irie or Ionette?
We don't know.
Oh yeah, this happened to me last week. If you shared the link, I got my initial link from Dzhuliana, and so last week I joined as Dzhuliana. Something to do with the link that you use for Zoom.
I can share why I'm here. So as Natalie mentioned, so we are running another project, which is Women Mentorship, and we submitted a proposal for Fund 7, which is to bring more women to Cardano. I'm based in the United Kingdom. Actually, I asked myself this why I'm really here, and if the point is to bring more women. And actually, this question started. The question that I started to ask myself was triggered by Marie, who is here. We had a conversation, and she asked me a very good question, which is, okay, we have quite a lot of women right now in the community. How do we help them? What do you do with them? Is the point to bring more women just because of the point of bringing more women, or do we want to help somehow the women that are already in the community and that are trying to figure out what's going on? And I think my personal interest here is to see how we can support each other, and I think this will just trigger another actions and will naturally organically bring more women. But I think it's kind of like we should focus on the people that are already here and see what actions we can take and contribute to the people that are already in the community. Yeah.
So there's a comment from Dimitri, which I'll read out. So I'm here because I want to listen to what women have to say re-being in this community. What issues are there? How to bring more women into the community? What you feel is keeping more women from joining and those who join from participating more. Thanks, Dimitri. Cool. Does anyone else want to jump in before we move to the next question?
So I will hop in. This is Mermaida. I don't know if my connection is very good. As mentioned, I am in the midst of driving from one school to another, but I did want to say thank you, Dana, for sending me the invite link. So I am definitely hiding under your profile. But so as mentioned for Annette, it is one of those things where trying to get new women in the community is kind of a hurdle because they don't understand why. What is the point for them? So there's a point of educating the outside community as well as supporting the inside community. And so there's kind of two different key issues there. And so I think if we kind of divvy them up and see how we can solve them through that method, we might get a little bit further. And I'm just really excited to hear and see all of you here in this space.
Thank you. Dzhuliana, do you want me to facilitate who goes next, or maybe I'll let you do that.
Okay. I didn't saw who raised her hand first. So whoever wants to jump, I see Marie, Angela, and Nadia. On my first screen is Marie. Was it Angela, the first one? Okay, Angela, go on.
Hello, my name is Angela. I'm a Plutus pioneer and anyway, basic coder that's been running around these streets mostly since 2021, Fund 5. I'm joining you from East Africa, Nairobi, Kenya, and I'm here because I looked at the list of rooms to join, and this is the one that felt safe. A lot of places say that they're safe, but today was like, I need to hang out with people who are not gonna bite my neck off for having an opinion. So that's why I'm here. And I look forward to bringing more East African women to join us.
Thank you. I think that is our mission, just to have this psychological safety between us, and I'm very happy to hear that, Angela. So who was next? Marie, was that you?
Okay, sorry, somebody speak at the same time.
Okay, we can. Do you want to move to Nadia?
Yeah.
Are you switching to me? Here I am. I'm a little displaced. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. It's awesome just to be in this room. I love coming regularly because I think each week there's like a different mix of people, but still like some of the core same returning, and I think that is really what kind of creates the momentum of thoughts coming together and new thoughts being added to them. And I'm here. I'm actually really excited about what models and methods will be created from a bunch of women talking about this. So I think that's we have lots of different experience and lots of different backgrounds. And I'm personally, like, when I jumped into Catalyst, I got really involved in thinking about keeping record and documenting what's been going on both within Catalyst Circle and within different groups. So that sort of evolving and being a little bit of an earpiece for that, and then also watching this group form and start to consider a completely different approach to not only to the mission of bringing more women and supporting the women that are here, but doing that in ways that haven't been done before. And that's really interesting to me, and I'm excited to contribute to that, and also to just get to know how other people are being involved is really is inspiring for me as well. So like I said, I'm a little displaced today out of my office, so I'm gonna just mute myself and keep myself off video, but I'll be here listening and excited to add whatever I can.
Cool, thank you. Very nice to know that you're always here and to support us, Nadia. Yeah, Marie, to you.
Yes, but me also, I would like to I wish I can support you in some way. And I have this crazy idea, but it's just that I would like to know how the women feel in the community, the woman already here. And I know I will never arrive to have all the experience, but be able to have a panel of a lot of experience of the woman in the present, I think that would be really great to know what we need to change, what we need to, I think if we do all together a little bit, I don't know if it's interview or things like this, but to have this substance, what is today to be a woman in Cardano, for example, how they feel, and And that can help us to know, yeah, maybe we need to change this or to make it this better. And I think I find this wonderful that Alexa and sorry, I remember this is Alexandra. This is not, but I find this is really great that people come from the Twitter space and come here, that maybe you know much more women than me, for example, in the community. And I don't know if you find this idea interesting, but I think that could be a way to maybe get the temperature, to see if also many women feels good, or if there is things behind and they have they cannot express this. Maybe they have trouble or things like this, but where they can speak about it. And I think, yeah, maybe in one-to-one conversation or things like this, in anonymous, this is my idea.
Yes, thank you. Makes a lot of sense. Yes, should we go to the next question? Let's keep it short,
Yeah,
straight to the point.
I think that's a good idea. Sorry.
Are we asking questions and then kind of talking about them later, or are we just asking questions? Like, what's the structure for this?
So we had asking a question. You mean, are we asking questions individually to then discuss as a group?
Right. Yeah. So are we discussing, if there's a question, can we discuss it?
Yeah, I think.
Or okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
what I was thinking, we could, yeah.
So what she's saying is, like, can people comment on what Marie just said, or are we just going to the next person who's going to bring like maybe a different thought? Is that what you're saying, or no?
Well, I think,
yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that makes sense, and it's always hard to know which pathway to go down. But I think maybe I'll propose the next question, and I think it really ties into what Marie was speaking to and what others have spoken to, you know, so far. But if there's anything that sort of stood out that you want to answer that's not directly related to the question, please contribute. Where, you know, this is open and collaborative, and we want it to move and flow where it needs to go. So if you feel that you have an answer to a question that's not, you know, not directly this question, please go ahead and contribute.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to write down all of the questions, and then at the end we can have like a giant discussion about them.
Okay, nice. That would be great. Thank you. So the next question that I had is, and I'll incorporate what Marie said into it, is like, how do you, so if our aim is to enable women to create and collaborate and contribute at their highest potential within the Cardano community, how do you currently feel in relation to that, and what might be stopping you from contributing to your greatest potential? And maybe it's what you've observed yourself, you know, what have been the blockers initially, and what have you overcome to get to where you are now, or what's holding you back, or what have you observed for other women within the community, or other women that are, for example, not here participating in this group today? That's quite an open question, but I'll open it up and we can see where it goes. At least it sets a broad scope that you can contribute to.
Sorry, was there any more questions? I'm going to write them all down and then put them in the chat so we can all see them and answer them with the group discussion.
I think there was a question that was brought up in the actual chat. It was saying, what's stopping women from joining?
Cool. So maybe we just keep contributing questions to the chat and then allow responses here on video. So Marie, did you want to jump in?
Your question, Natalie, that was what stopped you to come in the community? Sorry, I make a mixed in my head.
No, I included a lot of information there. It's, yeah, what's stopping you from contributing to your full potential, and then as part of that, you could describe how you're feeling about being part of the community.
I think my first stop is that I'm really not technical at all. And when I hear there is some conversation, it's impossible for me to follow. I try to concentrate, but it's so a different world of mine. And I think I need a lot of time to understand the whole process and the technical stuff. And yeah, this is the first stop for me. And I think it's maybe a little natural if you are with most of men. It's not the same thing that if you have a lot of women, it's sometimes that I don't know how to explain this. But yeah, this is more technical stuff for me. It's like I feel a little bit late about this point. So, and I don't really know how can I say this to be in the right timing, because I feel always totally overwhelmed about information and stuff. So yeah, when I see people really technical and speaking about economical stuff and precise topic like this, I'm totally lost. Even if I want,
I think AWG has their hand up.
Hi. I feel like it's quite a bit of a, in my experience, in my journey towards becoming more technical, it's been an experience of having to prove how interested I am, because it ends up being quite a bit of a okay. So one thing is time, the amount of time it takes to interact and to you know, you need to be available, you need to, it's a full-time job for you to succeed in Project Catalyst. You need to attend meetings, you need to you know, give a lot of time. A second thing is that once you do give the time, I've had the experience of being elbowed out, or you know, you know, it's competition rather than collaboration. So the whole thing where we're trying to collaborate or coming from a different sphere is difficult when it's a fight to the death for whatever ADA you can get out in Project Catalyst, if I'm being very honest.
This is a very important point. Thank you, Angela, for sharing this. It's, yeah, it's great. It's, yeah, I think many women face this challenge as well. Someone else?
I can read what Nadia's put in the chat. So she shared, I think it's really important that people find a purpose when they come to Catalyst that is big enough to help them overcome the difficulties of getting involved, and that they find a few new and supportive relationships that help them to get a foothold and direction. When that happens, belonging takes root. Nice. Yeah, I really agree with that. Someone shared in a conversation I was in a couple of weeks ago with the Unleadership group, someone shared the idea of belonging, that's, you know, that's the aim or the objective of a community that allows people to participate, is feeling like they belong. And I really, really resonated with that.
Yes. I'm curious to hear from Jack. There is a person that I haven't seen in this room. I'm curious to hear why you're here and what is your opinion.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'll just, a full disclosure, I work for IO, and and I'm a product marketing lead for governance and for Catalyst and for the stuff that's coming this year. So I wanted to hear how some of the issues that people are facing with inclusivity and barriers that people have. So really, I'm just observing, listening to people, their concerns and issues, and trying to take away what I can to feed into the plans we have for this year to make it better for everyone. So yeah, I have a hidden agenda. Apologies, but yeah, hopefully for the better. Yeah. So just I don't want to really ask questions or involve myself too much. I just want to listen. Really, that's all right.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for joining.
It's not a hidden agenda anymore, right? You're on tape. James. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
How are we? I've been in another room, real 5 room, and there's nothing more real than ladies. Ladies working together, getting shit done. How are we all? I joined the leadership state pool. Thank you, not state pool, GitHub repository. Thank you, Nori. And caught up with Nori in a coordinator call the other day. And he said that there's a event happening, I think it's tomorrow afternoon, for a Pacific town hall, which I'm looking forward to going to. And I thought I'd just share it just in case anybody hadn't heard about it. So the Pacific Town Hall, as I understand it from Nori, if you're there, Nori, you can jump in if I get anything wrong. Different kind of timeline for countries that are around the Pacific Ocean, and this is one of the first meetups. And this meetup is about a YouTube video that came up called "Line Goes Up," which is really highlighting all of the hype and some of the cowboys and some of the problems with Web3 where it is at the moment, and having a discussion about it. So I'm just literally coming along to share that I think it's an event that I'm going to go to, and I think it's worth having a look at the video, and also coming along to the discussion about it. So that's hi. There's an offering.
Thanks, Joe, for amplifying that. I just put the link into chat. It's happening tonight, my time. And yeah, we thought it would be useful to take a critical look at what we're doing and make sure that we're building a better world rather than building a giant Ponzi scheme. And it's a long video. It's like 2.5 hours long. So it takes a while to get through it, but he brings up some really interesting points, and we're going to have that conversation. So if you are up and it fits your time zone, please come. Mihaela has signed up, and Melanie will be there, and now Joe. So lots of really great people will be around.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons.
Oh, Joe, so we're currently discussing the pain points that women have regarding joining Project Catalyst. So the main question right now that we're kind of talking about is, in your experiences, what do you think prevents you from maybe reaching your full potential? What do you think is stopping women from joining Project Catalyst? Did you want to touch on those questions? We would love your feedback.
Cool. Yes, absolutely. So it kind of ties into that offer and that piece of news. The video, if you watch it, echoes a lot of stuff that it's kind of around the Web3 blockchain, cryptocurrency, whatever you're going to call it, space, right? Which is, it's a whole load of tech bros doing their tech bro thing, and a whole load of financiers who are looking for the next opportunity to transfer a whole load of wealth and into their pockets. And that's it. that's the news that kind of is pervasive and, you know, out there in the zeitgeist for that ladies can access, unless you're kind of involved in the space, right? Like, unless you're kind of deeper in the space. So I come from a publishing background myself, and you know, women are very good at sharing information if women actually share it. You know, like, it needs to come from ladies to ladies, really, because there's a I don't know, you know, it's a it's a thing I feel anyway, that I immediately feel a closer level of empathy and connection with another lady than I do with a chap, you know. So immediately there is one, depending on who it is, you know, one small step that's already been taken, because, you know, it's a human thing. You look like me, you're the same gender as I am, you're the, you know, you're in the kind of same world dealing with the same kind of issues. So immediately I accept that information better, easier, quicker from another lady. And I think that's one of the issues, is there aren't enough ladies that are actually having the conversation about the amazing opportunity that we have here, which is to take all of that tech bro and tech finance, you know, and finance dude stuff and go, well, you didn't do a particularly wonderful job. Let's have a little go and have a tinker around some of these incentive mechanisms, and some of the distribution is a little off, and, you know, like, in whatever way suits in whatever meeting, and whatever, you know, development conversation or project, actually, you know, bring the ladies' view into the room, and be strong and be courageous and go, that's how it used to work, there's a better way, how about we look like this? And the fabulous thing is that we're in an experimental environment where we can do that. So yeah, the more ladies that we can get involved by bringing them into conversations. So I've already invited a few of my ladies here in Tauranga, in the Bay Plenty in New Zealand, to come along to the Pacific Town Hall, just to hear the conversation. And because it's about such a contentious video, right, I think it's a good place to start, because it already sets up a polarizing force, which is, they're all cowboys, and it's all, you know, it's all a Ponzi scheme. And, you know, I think there's going to be enough evidence of the opposite in the room that it's actually a good lead in for some of my girlfriends and colleagues to come along. Oh, Nori, I'm terrified of moderating it. I can understand why you would be. It is so contentious. Yeah. So does that go some way to input towards the thing that you're discussing?
Yes, thank you. Yeah,
you're welcome.
Was it Mermaida? I think you had your hand up a while ago. Did you? No. Okay. Thanks. So does anyone else want to contribute to what might be holding them back from participating fully in the Cardano community, or what they've experienced that has enabled them to participate in the way that you do?
I think I can speak on the participation part, on what I guess enables me to participate, and I think it just stems from confidence, and just like not really giving a fuck about, you know, hey, I'm gonna show up and I don't give a shit if some males want to like disrespect me or attempt to, you know, discredit what I have to say. My background, I kind of came from a computer science background originally, and so, you know, I grew up kind of surrounded by men all the time. I would be like the only woman in like a physics 2 class, or like a programming class. There'd only be like a few of us. I've put together hackathons. I've really dove deep in the tech community. I do have to say that's kind of what caused me to leave that the tech community area, was because it was surrounded by men. I was getting harassed. I was getting invalidated. I didn't feel comfortable getting tutored by men because, you know, there would just be just this awkward like post tutor, like, hey, I'm gonna go home now. And then they're just kind of like, yeah, you wanna do something? Or I would constantly, you know, be asked to be dated. And it's just like, dude, I'm just trying to like fucking learn. Like, can you just chill for like 2 seconds? So, you know, it's just like one of these things where in the tech world, you know, we spend so many hours dedicated to learning and to just participating, where we don't have so much time to be social and kind of feel like a human. And I feel like these factors kind of contribute as well. I know a lot of women, they don't feel comfortable talking to men just due to like past sexual harassment issues, past domestic violence issues. It's just like one of those things as well that I see other people sort of talking about, how they just don't feel comfortable being around men for those points. So I think, of course, it being a community of women, and like Joe said, just seeing a woman spread the word probably will make them feel a little bit more inclined than supposedly a male. And I know we're all talking a little bit about hypotheticals and what we think and what we believe, which is great, and what we think other women are thinking. But I think an action item would be, we need to do some actual unbiased research and get some data points on basically what the obstacles are for women. Is it you know, is it more emotional level? Is it more of a finance level? Like what are those actual hard data points? So then we can formulate a plan around those verticals, essentially.
Thank you for sharing. Dana, do you want to jump?
Oh yeah, no, I love everything Alexa just said. Definitely need to get some data. I also think that while we're collecting the data, I mean, even me personally, I had to change my Twitter profile picture because, you know, it was more of my face. So now my profile picture is more of a far away picture, just because when I'm in these spaces. But how I kind of went about into like mulling my way in was, when I was in spaces, I would hear certain people talk, certain men talk that I thought had, you know, a knowledge, intelligent, they're speaking about something that I wanted to learn more about. I would reach out to them, and then I would have one-on-one conversations with them in Zoom for like an hour or so, because I'm like a 5-year-old that needs to be broken down to me in like little bitty pieces. And then going back into the spaces, all these men like who had spent some time with me are now champions for me in these spaces and were bringing me up to speak. And so it was like through the men, I had a key to the kingdom, which is kind of, you know, as more women getting integrated into this community, you know, now we're gonna start to be the keys to the kingdom too. So what I see, what I think is really needed is, like you were saying, having some sort of, I would love to see some sort of educational blockchain 101 course put on by women, and it's a panel of all the you know, all of the women who are kind of the leaders in this group having a conversation. It's put on YouTube. Maybe it's a Zoom that is broadcasted through Twitch, and you know, you can see the YouTube, or however it is, however we do the Catalyst ones, and then it's out on YouTube, and your average, you know, your average Jane, you know, woman can kind of get it from the female's perspective. And we're starting to break things down, you know, because the technical stuff, yeah, women are really good about thinking about other ways how to explain things, especially to women. So I think that that needs to happen. And then also, I think it's important to kind of help the whole community as a whole. This might sound a little controversial, but bringing in, so Cardano women are the ones hosting this blockchain 101. And we're bringing in maybe a woman from Ethereum or a woman from Polygon to explain their, like, what that blockchain does and how they use it. And throughout all of it, you know, at the end, there's always a plug for Catalyst. Hey, you want to build on the blockchain? You know, there is money that is being offered up to people who have ideas, and they can range from technical to non-technical. You want to build a house in Africa, you want to help, you know, whatever it is, like there's money for that. And then when you start getting these other chains, these women from other chains highlighted in the videos, now all their followings are watching that YouTube and they're saying, oh, Cardano has money they're giving away to people to help build things. Now you're integrating more people who are on other blockchains into Cardano. So I just think that there needs to be a more prevalent voice of, like, we need to start, you know, like, what is it called when you're in the military? Start like forming, like,
recruitment.
Yeah, like not, it's you know, when you go into your war room and make the plan and then you execute it. But if there's a visual of women out there from the Cardano community, I think that'll be the thing that I can send to my friend. You know, she's a mom, she has a job, she's not, you know, she doesn't even have a wallet yet. But if I send her an easy to understand video where it's women talking to each other, asking each other questions on a panel to explain some of these things, she'll sit there and listen to it as, you know, she's getting the kids ready for school or whatever it is. So I think that's, I think that might be an idea. And then also, like I said, there needs to be a hub. Maybe it's on Gimbal Labs on their website or something, a Cardano Women's Hub. You go to that section of their website and here's all the resources for women, you know, or we make our own. But there needs to be some place that's easy. So all these resources are piecemealed all over the place. And even me, you know, between Telegram and Discord and Twitter and all this stuff, it needs to be stupid simple for anybody to get involved. And then, you know, that's a way to help bring more women and build this community, I think. That's my 2 cents.
Nice. I think that's a really great idea. And I'm actually thinking maybe that we should use the last 20 or so 15 minutes to talk about initiatives that people are either working on or have the desire to activate or lead. And then as a result, you know, we can end with some outcomes or at least the relationships that can drive some of those initiatives forward.
Yeah. Yes, actually, we haven't heard from Megan. I'm very curious to hear what she thinks. If you can. Okay, you can. Yeah. Message us in the chat. Angela?
Well, I think it's a really interesting question, because what's the future that we're trying to create, and how does that relate to the present that we currently have, and how is it different? I think the present that we currently have is the bro. What did you call it? All the bros.
Tech bros. It's the tech bros. They've all got beards. You know, they're all in their 30s. You know,
you know them well.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of them.
And so
I got to jump in and say, just because I think we got to avoid labeling people in that way, because I don't think it's conducive to the overall goal. I know it's useful because we you know, we can assign a persona to it, but I just got to say, I think I
get it. But I think also that there is a way to deliver it. So some of my best friends are tech bros, right? Some of the people that have helped me in this space are tech bros, right? So it's not done as a label with a connotation that it's necessarily bad, right? It is I'm a woman, I'm a mum. I'm a tech gal as well, you know, like the assigning some negative connotation to it is totally in the eye of the beholder. I don't mean it necessarily in a bad way.
I mean it in a bad way because I've dealt with them. And that's exactly what I mean.
Right.
And I think,
okay.
like, personally,
Okay.
I've had to deal with them. And so I have no hatred of them. I work very closely with them. I spent months and months and months, 24 hours a day working with them. But they do have some, see, now that's what, it wasn't what I was gonna say. I'm just saying, there is an issue there. There is an issue with the community that assumes that I must be male. That's not anything to piss anyone. There is an issue with a community that steals ideas and just moves on. There is an issue with a community that breathe. I was talking about the beautiful future that we could create, rather than the present situation, which I have a very strong opinion on, but this may or may not be the place. I'm not doing it so I can offend anyone who has. I'm not trying to offend the good bros, but I'm telling you there are certainly plenty of nasty ass bros, and they will send you inappropriate photos. They will just disrespect and disregard your opinion. They will interrupt you in the middle of a conversation. So there is an issue there, and I might be the only one who's facing these bros, but I doubt it.
No, you're not. It's you got to talk like what I talk over them. When they start talking over me, I talk over them, and then they stop. Like,
so it's a whole battle armor you have to put on before you go in there, and it becomes a survival game rather than a comfortable place to exist or to thrive. And so what I would like to see in our future is, over the next 50 to 100 years, the impact of having had meetings like this about Cardano women. I would love to see a space for women's opinions to be listened to. I would love to see a space for some of women's problems to be solved, because there are problems that are, you know, just on women. There are problems that men do not experience, and therefore can't really relate and can't, you know, they can solve it from an outsider's perspective, but there are a ton of problems in the world that women go through that men don't. There are, you know, gender-based violence. We could get into it, but the beautiful future that I would like to create from us having met here today is something that looks like equality. And we are so far from that right now, with all, you know, 12 of us women in one room where there's 100 men in other rooms. And it's like, okay. So there is an imbalance and there is an issue. And I don't think sugarcoating it or trying not to offend the bros is, I tend to be more direct.
And you are.
Yeah, very much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you, Angela. Yeah, I didn't mean to derail you at the beginning. Sorry for that.
Nadia, do you want to jump in?
Sorry, I was unraise my hand and then don't hit the mute button. Yeah, I think there's so much opportunity here, and when there's a lot of opportunity, I think it's really important that we get to the real essence of the problems we're going to approach solving and the things that we're looking to create, because because there are so many different experiences that we all have, it will be easy for that to splinter in lots of directions, so that we end up working on things that what we're making solutions for don't necessarily address deeply. I think that, I know I'll speak for myself. I know that for myself, there are things that are Nadia specific that hold me back from doing the work that I would like to do. And then perhaps there are like systemic things, and those things are addressed much differently. And I think probably for most women, for most of us, I'm sure if we all sat and talked about times we've said something and felt like whatever negative thing we thought about ourselves afterwards and gone down the rabbit hole of that, managing that internal process of building confidence for yourself and being able to walk forward and create on things that are important to you is very different than when you butt up against someone who's definitively trying to stand in your way. And those are very different issues, both of which everyone faces, but specifically we're talking about women here. That's important. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity, but as we narrow down what we're actually working on, some of these things are very broad, and some of these things are very specific, and some are very personal, and some are very sort of social overall, or maybe just the result of a kind of like neutral circumstance. So I just say that to say, I hope that as a group, we are aware of and focused on the things that are really nefarious influences, but that we're really bringing together our best creative efforts, because I want to be part of a group that's creating things and that's focused on thinking about what we can make new and contribute, rather than getting kind of like getting lost in the noise. And that's not to say that any of the stuff that we're talking about here is noise. I'm just saying it would be easy for that to happen as we move forward in working on some of these things. So that's kind of a general thing, just to say, I think we can do some of this stuff immediately and try it out. And I think some of it also is going to take us maybe spending an entire session on one specific issue that we're all feeling differently about, and really getting to the bottom of what that is, so that when we say things like tech bros, that for some of us it means something, for some of us it means something else, and for the people who are newly coming to this, it's going to mean something else, and for the tech bros it means something else. That we're specific on what it is that we're standing for, and that we're being focused on how we're responding to the call to create something for that.
Yes.
Awesome.
Great. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Alexa, you want to jump in?
Yes, there was the question of, or not question, but it was like, oh, who has what connections and whatnot. So I was just reiterating, I am the co-founder of Cardano Women. We host Twitter Spaces every Monday and Friday at 2200 UTC. We offer Cardano Women in Spanish as well as Mandarin during the week as well. So what we're also doing is trying to like reach out to people worldwide, essentially. We do talk about Project Catalyst. I try to bring it up as much as possible. On Friday, actually, this upcoming Friday, I believe we're gonna dedicate the space to the project or Fund 7, the proposals that got accepted, kind of talking about that. So if anything, you guys anyone is more than welcome to join in and talk about Project Catalyst and kind of get that involvement going on that end. I think I had another question as well, is aside from Project Catalyst, what forms of social media or what forms of media do you guys use to like stay connected and updated with Cardano and the Cardano community? That was a question I had.
Yeah, so maybe everyone can send their most used channel in the chat. And thank you, Alexa and Alexandra, for holding these rooms and for being so active. I've been following you for a while. I didn't know that you exist, but the moment I found you, give a lot of time to this community, and very much appreciate it, because as Angela mentioned, it requires a lot of time and effort. So, and not everyone has the opportunity to be full-time and to engage full-time and support the community full-time. So thank you for doing that. Merma, sorry, what, could you share your name? Not...
Yep, not a problem at all. I'm pretty used to this one. It's Merm Ada, just Ada at the end. So Merm Ada.
Okay. Cool.
So in terms of social media, I use Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Telegram, Discord, and branching out on Instagram. So there's like a list of them that I would use for different reasons, but most of them have a purpose. But I wanted to touch back on the subject of kind of like the issues that you have coming into the space. I had a recent networking event where I specifically dealt with women who were business savvy, but were not in the crypto industry. Most of these women come from a small business background and entrepreneurial background, so they're very driven women. But the number one complaint that I still got was the quote unquote tech bro vibe that they got from gentlemen, the immediate do your own research vibe that they were told to do. Like they felt like they were just, okay, here's crypto, do your own thing, and it is what it is. We don't have any direction for you. And so it was literally a complaint of feeling like they had this opportunity, but no information given to them. And so I literally sat down and worked with 5 of them over the last week to start creating that educational content of here's your basics, because they don't even have an understanding of what a block is, let alone why they would pick one chain over the other, let alone why they would want to be on Cardano. So it's a point in case of having to go back to basics with a lot of these women, because it's not that they don't understand it. It's that someone hasn't even bothered to explain it to them. And on that same note, I went to that networking event for my own purposes, but a couple of gentlemen in the community had heard that I was going, and they were like, I would really love your feedback from these women on this. What is it that prevents them from coming into the community? So I came back and I provided that to the community. The anger and rage and vehemence that I was met with from gentlemen in the community over this, I had a very personal troll who then took it from Twitter to a Telegram group because he was so enraged that I should dare say that this was how women felt. And here's the thing, me, myself, as a woman in the community, is this how I feel? 1000% not. I love my bros. They are my hype men. I could not be here without them. But at the same time, it's intimidating for new women. As one of you said when you first came into the space, you said, I looked in all of these different breakout rooms and I said, which one do I feel the safest in? Because that's not a safe space provided usually within those spaces of Twitter. I know, I understand. I've had an absolute anxiety attack in one of those spaces because of something an idiot male said, thinking that he knew better. But here it is, another point in case of I've gotten almost a year experience. February 26th will be my 1-year anniversary of starting our stake pool, and March 1st is my 1-year anniversary of minting our first NFT. But do you think those gentlemen give a dang hoot about my knowledge or experience? No. That's not what's important to them unless they know me. They want to prove that they have more know-how and that I can be shut up. So it definitely is a point in case of there's a lot of animosity and anger and frustration that is met still in this community. And so there's both sides of it that need to really be addressed. As I mentioned early, there's the education factor that women needed explained in a womanly way. And there's also the fact that men in the community need to be educated on how they can better treat women in general.
Yeah, I think that is something we all agree. A safe space that we can ask all the questions that we usually will not be able to ask. And yeah, my experience is very similar when just going to the technology at all. Like a couple of years ago, it was the same thing. I just didn't ask because the most often questions was just do your research, and I'm okay. I will do my research and will not ask not a question. But yes, that maybe is the biggest stopper for everyone here.
Yeah, I've really found that there's a lot of deflection around that, and because a lot of you know sometimes it's also about the person that's been asked to communicate and their confidence around communicating, and there's a lot of deflection around getting into, you know, going beyond that image that person holds to really truly connecting at that authentic level, where knowledge sharing is just so much better because you can have a backwards and forwards conversation and ask questions and get into details. And you know, that's what I really found valuable with joining this community early is not early, joining this community compared to some other blockchain communities was I followed Dzhuliana into Cardano and was able to, that gave me a lot of confidence in my ability to participate, because I had someone that I could ask questions to that really gave me guidance. And then Felix invited us to have a conversation early on as well, which again really lowered down, like removed those barriers that existed that made me fearful of contributing because of those relationships. And so for me, the thing that I am really passionate about and what we're really trying to do with 1up, 1down is enable those relationships so that that knowledge sharing can happen. And then when you can learn that practice, then you can really get beyond those guards that people hold for whatever reason, you know, because they are fearful or lack confidence, or, you know, the reasons that we all have a desire to maintain a certain image. Anyway, sorry, that's just a compilation of my thoughts.
Jo, do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm now processing everything that Natalie's just said, as well as the last couple of ladies. I'll go back to when I put my hand up, because I think it is relevant to both. I think there is from my perspective, I think there is a degree of measurement about the technology being the most important thing within the guys that are totally focused on the technology. To me, it's a tool, it's a shovel, right? The point is, what are we digging, right? Like, actually, you know, the shovel needs to be the right shape, right size, right weight for the people that are actually building the thing to use it, right? So what are we using it for? What are we going to build it for? There's a chap that probably Natalie knows, actually, called Malcolm Rands. He started a company here called Eco something, can't remember what the brand is. And he's a cooperative man, you know, like that's how he thinks. He helped one of the startups in our ecosystem get going, which was about food cooperatives. And there was a conversation that took place that was the most enlightening conversation about cooperatives, which was, the problem is not the accounting or the supply chain or any of that stuff. It's actually getting the people to work together well, right? And that's the most complex problem, and it's hard to code behaviors, right? You can't. It's really challenging to do that. The behaviors have to emerge first. I think there's a guy on Twitter who's very, very prominent called Balaji, and he says technology leads culture. Well, it's just not true. Culture, people lead technology. We're the ones that are building it. The ability to have a conversation, to allow for people's definitions and to allow people to have their own definitions, and then to be involved in a conversation and do that with empathy, with, you know, compassion. Those are the hardest problems to solve, and you can't code it. You just can't. So and we've tried, and we've ended up with the neoliberal capital finance tech structures that we have, because we've ignored the fact that we haven't actually worked really well on the working together as humans with a far more complex system than any tech bro or tech gal can ever understand. So the conversation in the women for, you know, women on Cardano in any women's circle is, I think, really, 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 really important, because I think we get that, you know, even if we're not mums, we get that piece, right? That it's really, really, really challenging. And at the end of the day, all we can rely on is some really simple principles, you know. And for me, that's the challenge of, you asked earlier, what's the challenge of getting involved in certain spaces? It's, I don't understand what the principles that they are working with, you know. Just getting work done for the sake of getting work done, for getting a commit on GitHub, for getting a, you know, well, why are you doing it? Where is the, you know, what's the principle that you're actually trying to bring to, you know, bring to this this work that we're doing? Because we do have this amazing opportunity to start from scratch and do it the right way this time, you know. So yeah, it's about the humanness of the spaces and the working together conversations. That was a ramble because I got waylaid, but I hope something was useful in there.
It was very, very, very useful. Definitely, thank you for sharing. And I can totally, from my experience, what I have observed, comparing like communities that are mostly men and communities that are like now. I don't have anything against men. Actually, I also I have most of my mentors, they have been men. Actually, one of my mentor brought me here, and I'm very grateful for that. But that is the important thing. And as Angela said, and as you said, as everyone says, so we have different experiences, and that is the most important thing. So sharing and listening, and I think that is the difference between men's communities, because when you go, for example, in a community where you have only PHP developers, you will only talk about the tech and how it's built. And of course that is important because that's why we are here, but that is not exactly why we are here, because as you just said, like, we need a different perspective, and women are bringing this different perspective. And this is why we, in my opinion, need this balance. Alexandra, yeah.
I know there's two of us, it seems. I'm just coming back. I had another meeting on top of this meeting kind of blended in, but I was loving the conversation and talking about the men and things like that in the space. And I don't know if it's anything to propose, but after our space on Friday that Cardano Women had, it ended kind of spicy with some perspectives of a gentleman that was unfortunately not in the same alignments of ours, but we tried our best. And it wasn't a win, but one of the other women who was listening in the room, she had a light bulb of an idea to kind of like interview Cardano women in this space. And I think it would be actually beneficial for more women to be part of it as well. It's her husband who hosts this talk called Boss Talks, and he kind of talks to just techie stuff and things like that. And she was like, you noticed on Sundays, on the weekends, not a lot of women are involved because we're either working or catching up on the work from the week and stuff like that. But we landed on this topic of conversation of exactly this, not just finding other women in this space. I love, bringing more women that we can, or just finding the women who are in the space so that way, we feel safe as we are. But the enlightening part of it from our conversation in this space was there was actually men who would be coming up onto the stage and helping us women try to convey our message as to why there's a proposal up for empowering women, and why we have these spaces that are what we have here, safe spaces for women. So that gave me the light bulb to have the topic in a space filled with men, talking about how can we transform male allies? How can we find more men to actually help us with this mission? Because the men listen to this and they're not actually doing much involvement. But I think if we take this information into their space, then maybe they can have like the covers revealed off of their eyes, that it's not just women bringing more women into the space, but we need the men to feel comfortable enough with bringing more women into it. So we had a meeting even a while ago, because I proposed it to the organization of Cardano Women. What would they think about me bringing on a man into the team, to because they have a different perspective, absolutely. And we had one who actually had, you know, on the sidelines offered, he's like, if there's anything I can do with Cardano Women, I would love to help. And I was like, that would be awesome. So we had the interview. We're not going to bring a man into the Cardano Women organization as of right now, just because we liked what we have going on with most of us, 15 women involved in this mission. Primarily it's myself and Cook Time. But then we had the alternative option of having brand ambassadors, where we could have the men be male allies, and that's how they can promote Cardano Women a little bit more. Because even then there's even other men in the space who they comment on Twitter posts, which is awesome. It's a start of where can women go to find good resources? Where can women go to get started in this realm? So that kind of like furthered my idea of that space topic. And it'll be on Sunday. I just tweeted about it because she mentioned it, but I figured it would be also awesome to mention here in the space, if that would be something that could be an opportunity to bring as an alternative. I know that Mermaid has been thrown to the wolves and had the men ask her, but what would it be where we come into the men's room and say, this transforming men into allies in the space to bring more women into here.
What time is that space, Allie?
So it's going to be Sunday. Let me double check my calendar here. So it's going to be on Sunday at, according to this, it says 3 p.m. Pacific time, my time. I can, actually, I'll copy the link.
Yeah.
And
What's
then
the
I'll
name
just post
of
it in here.
Is it a
It's
Cardano
called,
Women?
it's not a Cardano Women's space. This is a male space called Boss Talks. I'm going to put the link in here so you guys can have that quicker access to it. And they're going to be interviewing me as Cardano Women, talking about transforming men into allies.
That's awesome. Congratulations. That's a great, like, first, I mean, that's a huge step. Good job.
Thank you.
It's funny, I've been in Boss Talks before, and it's when you get into the spaces like really early before, you know, a bunch of people show up, and you actually, they invite you to talk because no one's in there talking. That's when like a lot of these relationships really kind of happen sometimes. And so if I go into a space that I haven't been in before and there's like a billion people in there, I'm just like, oh, I try to catch it way in the early stages. So this is like thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Marie, you want to jump in?
I just want to emphasize what you're saying. I think we cannot arrive to do it alone. I think we don't want to continue to separate and struggle each other. We just wanted to trying to understand each other. We are different. I know that we need to be equal, but this is what I write in the chat, is a little bit the equality in the difference. We are different, and this is wonderful, and this should not be supposed to be something to struggle. That will be we need to discover this is different. And I think, yeah, we cannot do this if this is not to be supported. This is like two movements, we need to be coordinated. If we make something in our side, that's not gonna work, that's gonna continue. But if this is the two side, we try to make something together. I don't know, maybe I don't have the words, but I think, yeah, we don't need to separate, but we need to find a balance also, because we need to rise up problems, issues that we cannot maybe make with everybody. I think maybe we need to have a separate level to be able to have a kind of intimacy, and after working together. This is my point of view.
I love it. I love it. And it definitely, I agree with you. I think that's one of the things that we're not wanting to make this space be divisive, where it's men versus women. We want it to be unified. And how else can we do that? How maybe it's not even a tactic sort of thing, but when we're marketing women empowerment, maybe it shouldn't be that title. Maybe it should be more all-inclusive. So that way we're not getting fired at by the men. We're like, what about us? You know, it's nothing against the men. It's just, we want to be a part of the men's world, or just the general sense of it. You know, this metaverse thing. One of those things of topic that I've been mentioning in most of my spaces is that this is a quote unquote new space and a new frontier. It's a new America, essentially. We don't want to come in, you know, killing everybody. We want to come in with these new rules and these new principles where we can talk about how can we all have good habits of keeping everyone involved, keeping everyone included. And I think that that's exactly what you're meaning there. Men, women, non-binary, it truly is one race, I guess, one gender kind of thing would be nice, but still identifying the things.
And one thing, Allie, when you get on your boss talks, I don't know if this might be one of the things you bring up, but I was in a space, well, a couple of spaces last week where there were men in there that were like, yeah, I've been trying to get a hold of this, DMing this girl, and she hasn't gotten back to me because I'm trying to, I think that the person that they were trying to get a hold of was like in a space that is very about celebrating the woman form, and men are looking to start projects with women specifically. They're not doing it in the way the woman's doing it. They want to use women to objectify them, like in the space. And so it's like, please stop reaching out to women in their DMs saying you want to do a project with them. They're already doing the project. You're just trying to build off of what they're doing because you want to use their body or their whatever it is. So yeah, I heard that a couple times. I'm like, make your own project. Why? They're already doing their project.
And if you get the attention of the women will come to you in your DMs. It's that perspective sort of thing. I mean, exactly what I know exactly what you meant. I think we were in one of those rooms. It was like a shill mania mini thing. And this guy goes, yo, Allie, I've been trying to get in your DMs for like the longest time. I want to be on Cardano Women to talk about my project. And I was like, my DMs are perfectly open. He's like, well, I want you to follow me back first. And I'm like, that's not how it goes. I'm not following to follow people. Like, I see people and I have tons of notifications. I can only see so much. And so he was like, well, my NFT project is about something, whatever, titties. And I was like, what makes you think that I want to have that kind of project on Cardano Women? Like, what does it offer to women? What is it, some sort of breast cancer sort of thing? Like, what makes you think that I'm interested? Yes, NFTs, I have nice fucking titties, but that's not what I want it to be. I mean, it's a meme and we make fun of it, but it's a different perspective when a man's just like, I'm making this thing about titties. It's like, why? Be a little bit more mature, I guess, with this. And so I'm glad you brought that up.
Thank you for sharing. Angela, do you want to jump in?
Yes,
And
I
so,
do. Can
yeah.
somebody preach? Because
I knew that you want to jump in. I was wanting to
swear
to
on
do
my
this.
life, you people. Seriously. I had an experience. I keep having experiences in this space, but let me share another one. I was trying to get my family in to buy some ADA, and we had the what's it called? Summit, the Cardano Summit. And so I gathered all my people. It had taken me like 3 months to get them together. It was a big deal. I sat them down in my living room. I made them lunch, and I'm like, get in on this, people. So I had 3 aunties and 1 uncle, as well as a whole bunch of kids. So I'm showing them around the virtual space, and we go up to the Cardano Catalyst room, I think. And they were talking about this successful projects. But what did I see when we popped up there? The big, see now how you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. The waifu thing. So the waifu thing, those who don't know and those who don't. My uncle is hella conservative. My aunties are worse than him. They were like, what are you doing? Why has a huge image, like in this whole fancy world that you've dragged us here for 3 months? Why are there naked women? Like, what is happening? And they were out. They're like, I can't do this. So also with more conservative people, could we not with the boobs? Like, honestly.
I think my other half is he's back home after his haircut, and he kind of yelled in the other half is, what if we have a space where we talk about how to approach women in the space to educate? And I agree, but I also feel like it only hits a fine line, because I feel like most women are just going to just come into that space, and not many women are going to come into it, or many men are going to come into it to actually talk about this kind of things. And I'm all for celebrating the women form. Absolutely. Boobs, whatever, size A to double, triple H, whichever. I used to be a bra specialist, so I know all about it. I've seen plenty. I've touched plenty. But I agree with you. It doesn't have to be this thing where the men are the ones having this conversation, and they have a different perspective when they do showcase it. It comes off in a completely different language form than when a woman talks about it. And this is why I enjoy my other half, because when he does artwork about women, is to empower women, not in that sense. It doesn't have to be super overly sexualized or whichever. Sometimes it can be pretty sexy and spicy, which is totally fine. But I agree with you. And I totally know the waifu thing. Sorry. I'm not a part of the project entirely, but I do know who you're probably talking about. And he's a sweet guy. He's definitely still a kid, though. Google says maturity is 43. We're holding out to 43. But this is exactly the thing. And I think that I would look forward to this space talking about this to the men, just like, instead of men invading the women's space, maybe a little bit more women invading into the space to correct. I know that many of the men who have encountered me know how I handle my space, which is why I'm so thankful that Friday went more on the respectful, mannered way versus a hood rat kind of fight kind of thing that I know it could have gone. But I have been able to have that influence with some of the men, where I got a DM, or I had someone who was calling me out on some of my artwork sort of things. And I had a plethora of the other men who support me and who are my male allies commenting back and calling this person trash, go back to wherever you were from. And then I came in and I said, that is not what I want. I appreciate your protection. I can handle my own, for one. All I simply wanted to do was call out this individual for making a said thing, and that the internet is the internet. you have the option to unfollow, unsubscribe, do whatever you want. If you don't like it, move on. I will block you. I also won't tag you into a post saying that I blocked so-and-so, because then that gives you more fame than ever. Because Twitter, unfortunately, when you block someone, they still get notifications. They still can see these things. It doesn't entirely block you from the face of the earth. And I said, boys, it's not fair when you're fighting fire, you don't not fire back with more fire. If anything, I wanted to squash the situation by saying, I respect your points and views. This is how you can take care of it. And then that's it. And they've stopped doing that since then, at least on my personal things. Because unfortunately, I've, like Mermaida, when she talks about, you know, she's used to being ridiculed and things because of her profession and things that she chooses in her life that has given her tough skin in this space. And that's the same situation here. In my main job, main field, as I'm an art director, and I do pose boudoir, fine art nudes, things like that. And so I get all those kind of messages on my Instagram, and I'm used to it. And I've figured out just take a screenshot and tag them in it, so that way their mom can see it, and then they freak out. So that's my tough skin on that. But not every woman has that kind of route. Some women rather just not say anything. Some women just ignore and hide when that happens. And so I respect that too. But maybe that's another thing that we can educate the other women in the space, instead of being the person to attack back. You can respectfully attack in a manner that's respectful and tasteful, and then move on. And also not letting it continue on because you're being silent. Sorry, Natalie?
Yeah, I think that you've raised such an important point, that I think like that trauma of, you know, having that type of thing happen throughout our whole lives affects us all in different ways, and some of us it's more conscious and some of it's less conscious. Like, so, and I really feel like there's a need to educate men, but there's also a real need for women to heal with each other and sort of talk about, and we have to do that, I think, in order to move forward in unity. So yeah, I would love if anyone wanted to like create a space on that topic, because you know, you've all shared different views around how you manage it. Like Alexa, you talked about, you know, not giving a fuck and sort of moving forward and not letting it impact your ability to create. And I would love to hear hear more and be a part of that space if it's something that others would like to be a part of, or if maybe there's something that's already exists that we could share.
Absolutely. And even if it's already existing, I don't mind revisiting the conversation, because there's plenty of new people coming into the space that it doesn't hurt to revisit, kind of like refresh our memory of things, and until it's an actual habit. So I'm totally down with that.
Cool. Okay, that was a great conversation. I think it's time to wrap up. It's 90 minutes now, so I'm very happy that we have these conversations, and maybe it's worth keep holding these rooms and these spaces, and keep talking and figure out some stuff, doing some actions afterwards. And yeah, thank you everyone for being here.
Quick question, should we keep collaborating in Cardano Women as the Discord channel? Is that where we want to reconvene to continue conversations?
I think Ali put that in the chat, but if not, we can share that in Catalyst, in the Catalyst community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely Cardano Women. And then I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe I'm just gonna take I'm not saying I'm committing to like executing everything myself, but I am interested in sending out an email with like a link to see like what schedules align and if we can get on a meeting and kind of talk about some of these ideas to put some action steps to them, so that we're all in it and kind of get all the leaders of the Cardano women silos together. So something will come about in the next week or week and a half, I promise. I have a question though. I thought that they were going to announce, when is the announcement of the funds for Catalyst that were awarded in Fund 7? When do we find that out?
Tomorrow morning.
I thought it was today for some reason. Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Bye. Have a nice day, evening, whatever it is.